16.
Oh, okay, so it's still a little bit. Oh, thanks for letting me drive. Yeah, especially on Friday.
Getting out of the city. I drove in on Wednesday. It took me like an hour to get 13 k's out of the city.
Yeah.
That was 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was chockers. Absolutely chockers.
Why Trump? Yeah, why don't we business? Are we planning on going to networks on this time?
Yeah, I normally do,
All
but
my appointments away from any
from the peak times, yeah.
The networks online says chemo regularly. Yeah.
Oh,
It'd be nice to Wednesday next week.
you know, I was thinking about that on the train. Like, I remember like a few years ago,
Yeah,
I had this,
yeah. All right, yeah.
I know,
Is that right? Yeah.
absolute avoidance to do anything with advisors for fear of conflicted remuneration.
Oh,
Alrighty. I think you can all hear online. Got an introduction here. We've got our very own Nick Lale for our sort of spotlight on a practice for this session. So Nick's just recently taken on a new workflow manager at Sherpa, and it's always good to see these productivity sessions because there's so many different options out there, and finding the right one can be sort of difficult. So hearing from your peers is certainly helpful. So I'll throw over to Nick. Pressure's on, but thank you for sharing your experiences and expertise here. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, guys. And I must say, at the opening, when I told my team that I'm doing this session, they all turned around and said, "Why?" I don't know anything about this stuff. I was like, no, I'm not talking about the core product, but yeah. So today it's not really. If you ask me the intricate details of how the thing works, the program, I'll tell you at the end what program we chose. I honestly, God, would not know. But that's just putting it out there. But I'm coming at it from a business angle. Like as a business, what are we trying to deliver to our clients? And that's where we started this journey 3 years ago in terms of understanding, what are we looking for in a software? Are we looking for a software was the first question. Then it became about what is missing in what we've got. And then we worked through why do we need to change software and what do we need to get? So that was the nexus, if you like, of our journey as it began. And that was literally 3 years ago. Just over 3 years ago, we started asking the question. So as we went to market, it's been a fascinating journey. And today I'm just going to I've tried to step through what are the different challenges and different aspects of how we went through the journey. But please, any questions, interrupt, ask. Just don't ask details about the software because apparently I'm not good at it. So but that's okay. I'm comfortable with that. Okay, so why we changed was, we had a lot of inefficiencies. We saw duplication, and I don't know, like I found after 16 years, I still had an Excel spreadsheet and I still had Xplan. I'm like, what is going on? This is too much. And then I don't know if you guys are doing this or were doing this, we were basically sitting in a team meeting and the guys would upload information from Xplan into an Excel spreadsheet so we could see it on one page. And then I was just thinking, this is such a waste of time. And we all were, everybody was like unhappy, like we're duplicating, but we just couldn't find that one page image, for example, in terms of understanding what's happening with the client. So there was duplication, advice, bottlenecks, challenges with the advisors in the practice, just not adopting to software. Oh wait, that's me. That's including myself. Struggling to get my head around Xplan, not get my head around. Look, I'm a paraplanner in past history, but it was just like I always struggled. Always kept thinking we're moving in an age of digital. Things are moving so fast. AI is coming out, and I'm still struggling to figure out what's happening with my client. Again, not bagging the software, but in Xplan. So, and then that would create bottlenecks because it just things would fall into the too hard basket, and like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow, and then next thing, the whole advice process would slow down as well. We had significant growth, and we were really challenged with how do we scale. Like with Explain, again, good software, but we wanted to scale and grow. And from my role within the practice, it was really about saying, how do I quickly understand what's happening within the business without spending 2 hours trying to figure out what's happening in the business as well. Visibility, look through, and those kind of efficiencies, what we needed in order to grow. And I'm really glad we did it. Sorry, I don't want to jump the gun. I'll come back to that part. Our advice engine, we went through with a business coach. We went through various, advice mapping, education of our team in terms of what is the advice process, communication process. And then I always felt like we were trying to retrofit that into the software. And we all as a team felt like, hang on, we've got an advice process. Now we're trying to retrofit it, move it around to squeeze it into that square, round hole, square peg sort of scenario, which became, and then we became very highly dependent on individuals, like individuals within the practice to do something. And when one person left our practice, especially middle of last year, we not lost, but she sort of, with agreement, moved to a role closer to home, which is perfectly fine. That was like a huge shock for us. And because we realized nobody really else knew how to do certain things. And not that she hadn't documented it, we just didn't know how to do it. So it was like, this can't work. This doesn't work. And all those inefficiencies sort of come out when an event takes place. What I found was like, we're rolling along in the muck. It's day to day. And then when something changes, we just suddenly go, okay, well, this can't work. And 9 out of 10 times I tend to go, okay, let's quickly get past this and then we'll worry about the bigger problem later. But for us, it became a snowball. All those problems, like it's just getting too hard. Hence the driver for the change. Then we set out 3 things to say, okay, when we sat down as a group, we said, okay, what needs to change? What are the things that need to change? And what is the framework we're going to put around what software we're going to choose in terms of what do we need to get out of it, the decision framework. We needed to integrate, right? Integration was a massive piece because you've got softwares coming out like AI, you've got, APIs, which are something I've learned is a tool or like a plug, for example, that connects different softwares together. So Xeppo talks to Explain through an API. Explain talks to other softwares through an API. Integration was key. Understanding whatever we get has to integrate because we don't want to lose our old data. So that was a really important non-negotiable for us and should be for everyone. You don't want to lose your old data because if you lose your old data, your history's gone and it's a compliance nightmare. Scalability, long-term process alignment. So long-term process alignment was like, it really was, okay, where are we going as a business from that? That was the question. Where are we going? What are we planning to do? And then aligning with, does the software help us get there? So that was, interestingly, that one line was probably a half-day workshop trying to figure out, where are we scaling? What do we want to achieve? What's the business model going to look like? What are the long-term process? How are we going to align it in? And there's a lot of stuff we put on the board, to be honest, 3 years ago, that half of it was irrelevant. I got to tell you that because everything changed. Technology is moving so fast. It's just unbelievable. And a lot of things just dropped off, irrelevant, don't need that anymore. When I look back, and it was an interesting exercise doing this because I actually pulled that up from 3 years ago and I went, hang on, half of this stuff is irrelevant and was relevant back then. So that's another thing to keep in mind, just as a side tip in terms of how technology moves. Return on time and financial investment, that was a big one. I don't know, and this is from a business perspective, eyes wide open. This has probably cost us 50 grand, right on the table, no doubt. 25 in mistakes of, trialing different things, spending. And then when I say mistakes, it's more time, effort. We spent, one staff member spent weeks on trialing a software. There's still a cost to that, right? But there's a cost to that person working through that process of assessing software, trying to figure out what works and what plugins and whether something connects. And none of us are IT. We're not IT specialists. So the other half of that is actually 30 grand. The other half of that is actually getting the software into the system, not software costs. So that was an interesting framework that we had to set up. Like, what is our return on time? What's our financial investment? How much are we willing to commit? When we set out, we committed $5,000. Okay, so whatever thought figure you're thinking, oh, just put a zero at the end. It's just unbelievable. But it, I think over time, return on time, then that scale shifted as well. Like, okay, it's $5,000. It's actually $50,000. But what's my return on time? Return on that investment over time. So that was a really important one. So here's our internal. This was our journey across through. Well, excluding the first year, the 2 years prior to that, we had internal attempts, no structured process testing. It was just like, hey, Sonia, this looks like a great software. Can you give that a go and launch an SI? And she'd spend weeks going through it and say, it's crap. Oh, okay. But no software is crap. Like I should put that on the table. No software is crap. It just didn't suit us. So actually, one thing I wanted to mention at the start was any software, and that why I'm not saying the software we've gone with, and I will say at the end, is because any software you choose has to be for your business. It's specific. It's literally like a fingerprint. That's what we've learned. It's not what's good for us is not good for you. So it's really, really specific. But that's how we were doing that. We were just testing stuff and saying, does this work? Does this work? Oh, let's try this. Let's try this. And then after those 2 years of costly, time spent on software and trialing things, we ended up engaging with an external consultant. That was $10,000. When I first had a chat with those consultants, it was $5,000, and hence my $5,000. Okay, and then fast forward 2 years, they doubled the price. I thought, okay, should have gone with you earlier. But it was amazing learning.
Thank you.
And I can't advocate highly enough for using that consultant, because what they did was they basically came to the practice to spend 3 months talking to individual team members. They talked to me about what the vision was. They talked to others about what the vision was, and then talk to individual team members in terms of what are their biggest pain points, what is efficient, what they think would work better, and went through a whole project piece and then put it together for us. So honestly, it was really well worth them, trying to circulate through 9 people to figure out how to piece this together. What works? That $10,000 is probably well worth it. There was that 3-month structured analysis. They gave us a very clear recommendation, right? And it was great. But the funny thing is, when I put it on the table with the team, half of them went, that's ridiculous. Like, and everybody challenged it. Which was great. And everybody thought, oh, that's crap. No, that's not going to work. That software's not going to work. And look, even I was like, I don't know. It's like 50-50. They were right, by the way. Just I was 50-50 as well. But, the implementation part of it was what was the scariest thing for me. How do we implement? When do we implement? How's this going to transition? Who's going to champion it? Because we're all busy. Everybody's busy for practice. So, who's going to take that on board and say, oh, I'm going to champion this? So that was a really scary piece for me. How do we get this going? Get the team on board? How do we roll it out? The consultants that we hired, that we engaged with external consultants to do that assessment, also offered the service to roll out the software across a 6-month period. $40,000. Just let that figure sink in. But we didn't go with them because I'm already at 50. So that's too much. But also, I think what really came out of that was, for us, was that they're $40,000. That's perfectly fine. But what came out for us was, one of the other learnings was there's no one software solution. There isn't, from our view. There is no magic bullet to say this software is going to solve all your problems. It's all be oil. It's not. Because if it is today, by tomorrow morning, by the time we walk downstairs, there'll be something else. It's moving that fast. So it's really about finding a blend of softwares that's going to work for you. It's the tech stack, they call it. So, we've ended up with 2 softwares, and really they talk to each other. So how we've split it is we've split our CRM. Because the one feedback I got consistently from every other software and other consultants and other players is Xplan was never designed as a CRM. Its birthplace is and has been the roots is modeling. It's strategy. And then CRM was a bolt-on. So that to me now really rings true because we actually ripped CRM out of it. And we've got a standalone CRM and we've got standalone it's not standalone, sorry, Xplan, but they talk to each other. So financials don't go in the CRM, they go in Xplan. But if I put a file note in the CRM, it goes to Xplan. File note in Xplan goes to CRM. So it talks to each other, which is great. You know, like fee consents and all that, they talk to each other, which is amazing. That's been a huge, huge advantage for us. The rollout did take 3 months. It took us 3 months. And to be honest with you, we are right here, right now, end of month 3. So today we are end of month 3. And I can definitely say huge improvement in visibility, in revenue, in mapping out revenue and mapping out which clients are paying, where we've had drop-offs. So does anybody remember, you know, there used to be an old software.
Was it an FEI or a Sherpa? No, and had that drop-off report.
Red sign. Used to be a, you know, you could read the client segmentation. It's older, yeah. And then they showed it there.
Yeah, I could, yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. But it was a great software. It's called revenue software. And, you know, this was 2014, 2015. And you could run a revenue, which is my highest paying clients, categorizing them and then attaching hours to it. And then I haven't really seen anything that powerful as yet. And now this software we've got does it. And that's literally in the last 2 weeks we've achieved that I can sit there and go, right, which are my appointments for the next week or for the team? What clients are paying what sort of fees? And what are the hours attributed to the workload? It's unbelievable. We sit in the boardroom, we can put it up on a Friday and go, we could probably reduce his fees, probably adjust his fees, you know, or her fees, whatever. That level of visibility we never had from a business point of view.
Broker, I was, I think. Like it was easy broker. Yeah.
That was it.
We used to run it like for everyone's revenue.
Yeah,
it was like easy dealer, and then at practice level it was easy broker, wasn't it? Yeah. And you're right. He sold it, and yeah,
And then it disappeared.
that's right.
It was a great software. So this software we've got is actually doing it to quite a degree. And now we've had drop-offs. And one of our paybacks straight out was we picked up recently that a client's recurring fee dropped off on the changeover from pension to super 3 months ago. And like, wouldn't have found out till review appointment next year. And oh, your fee dropped off. Well, we'll start you from now. We have to wear it. It's our fault. But, you know, they say straight away it's paid for it, not in its entirety, but it's starting to pay for itself in that sense. So that's a big one for me. But also, like, you know, being able to sit there and go, okay, which are the active clients that we're working on one screen? And then being able to go at a click, 2 clicks, I know exactly where that client's at. You know, we're chasing up rollovers. You know, that level of visibility I've never had in 20 years, and that's amazing. I find it really amazing. And I'm sure, like, for example, there's other softwares that do those things as well, but it's just about, for me, it was like, I'm a macro person. I need big picture, show me one screen where everything's at. That was one of the brief points I gave to the consultants. I want one page. I can see everything, the whole practice, all the clients, where they're at. And we can do that now, which is amazing.
And how do you get the revenue data in there?
The commission statements.
Yeah. So it's uploaded and
That's it.
matches. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was quite a process. So we took the last 12 months commission statements, and I said Nikki actually took the last 12 months commission statements and loaded them up one at a time.
Yeah.
And then it gave an exceptions report, things that were not mapped. Then she had to map those. So it's only when now we have a new client come in through the commission that she'll just map the new client revenues. But that now feeds back through to what's been uploaded in the service fee document that we put in should be, and it should match.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't match, it's an exception. Then there's something wrong, and we can investigate it.
Yeah.
But that level of visibility is like, okay, you're having commission reports, which are great, and then saying, oh, this is what I got the client to sign off. It's like a massive void.
Yeah.
I don't know if the revenue has actually hit the bank. I mean, you do, but you've got to spend time to figure it out. This is at a snapshot now. So, but yeah, that's really good. The two champions for us by default, not by choice, were Nikki and Kelsey. So a big shout out to them. I just basically kept shoveling stuff. Oh, you can take this. You can take this. Can you help me with this? And the two of them really are instrumental to success. So I just want to recognize them both for the amount of work they did. Putting, Kelsey very much on the back end to get the admin up, and Nikki very much on the revenue side to get that up to date as well. But we did, I think I missed a point there, sorry. Even though we did not take up the offer for implementation with the external consultants for 40 grand, we did source and find another group that did the implementation support for us. A couple of ladies out of Bendigo, and they're fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic. They offered us a 4-month implementation program for half the price. It was 20 grand. But we've gone to 3 months and said, I think that's enough because we feel comfortable. And they were happy with that. They said, look, you're fine if you tell us when you want to stop. So I love that kind of stuff, right? They're not trying to just milk you for every cent you've got, which is great. So, getting those people in, they help the team with change management, just psychological conversations as well, all the way through to, hey guys, how do I do this? And then they work it out and send us the answers and then talk to us through it. So I can't recommend that highly enough. I think any software we take on in today's world, software companies have limited support. I think that this is one of my other learnings is, you get on board, that's the sale, which is great. But then once you get on board, it's a bit of a struggle to get answers. Not saying they're all the same, but it tends to be a bit of a struggle to get answers. Like, hey, hang on, how do I do this? Watch the video. Like I don't have patience for a 30-minute video. That's just I just want to know how to do this. Just give me the answer, So they've been really, really good. The other firm we use. So there's our 30 grand, 10 and another 20. So integration is really good. Financial still handled the next plan, so I explained that part. Just with integration as well. So the API piece was really, really important because as I learned over time you've got Xplan, you've got your secondary software in the software we've got, but then you've got ancillaries such as DocuSign, right? You've got talking to NetWealth, or all of these softwares sit in our tech stack. They all need to talk to each other, and they're all starting to talk to each other, which is just incredible from my point of view. Our emails, so Outlook talks all the way through. So I send an email to a client. The plugins like an Xplan has, it's sort of similar, but I think it's way more efficient. I don't have to put another email address as a reference point. I can, but I just send an email to the client. It just auto files. And then the software picks up if there's a trail of communication, and then it abridges it to one file mode instead of 10 file modes. So, it's small efficiencies like that I thought was fantastic. One of the lessons which was here for us was to keep, I think fundamentally most softwares are learning is across 3 years is CRM and financial, such as Xplan for planning, need to be separate. You can't, there is a silver bullet, one software. Tools considered. So here's a bit of a rundown, and obviously we had Xplan. We talked to Xplan quite a bit through IFF as well, and Caroline was very instrumental in helping us a lot with that. So shout out to her as well. She's not here, sadly. But we tried working through workflows with that. We looked at Monday.com, which is left of field. We looked at Salesforce, Work Sorted, Xeppo. Those are the ones we trialed internally. So you can imagine, trying to spend time, weeks on end with Xplan workflow, trying to figure it out, staff members spending time and then finding out, no, it doesn't work for us. Advisor experience, data structure, visibility, cost to serve alignment. These were some of the other criteria that we got into once we had the consultants come in. So they put these criteria on, they said, for your practice, this is, again, specific to us, but it's going to be specific or different to everyone else. These are the criteria that they said that a lot are important to us as a practice, which was there. The key trade-offs, like the key trade-offs are between compliance strength, client engagement and CRM integrity, like the integrity of the software. Now, when I say key trade-offs is like, one thing we were very conscious of was like, for example, we'd look at, I'm not saying it's Monday, but let's say Monday.com, and we found, it's great for CRM, but then there were parts of it which was like, hang on, this won't work for compliance because it was like 12 months later, the notes drop off. It's small, intricate detail. So we said, no, that's a non-negotiable. That stuff can't happen. Can I upload my files? Salesforce, too clunky, wouldn't allow us to upload files. I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. And then there was question marks around where does the data center sit? Like us sitting here, we're not IT savvy people. So trying to figure all that out was, do we need to be doing trade-offs? We actually got to a point where we started thinking, there's going to be a trade-off. We're going to have to give something, obviously not compliance, but we have to probably pull back on our client engagement, or CRM's not going to work. And those are the trade-offs we said, no, we can't really have a trade-off. And then we stacked out our non-negotiables from there. And also the final selection at the end.
Exciting.
Let's start with next one. Let's roll out.
So next one, you're bringing Nikki in to show us how to use it.
Yeah. Nikki and Kelsey, no, I know how to check my jobs or tasks for the day, and measuring success. Like, or honestly, this is looking back. Okay, how successful have we been? Albeit we're end of month 3, we have had a 40% reduction in our prep time. That's massive. Like, I'm just looking at hours. I'm thinking, wow, okay, SOA turnaround 6 weeks is already down to 4 weeks already, and that's within 3 months. And that's with Paris now kicking off as an advisor as well. He started doing advice in the last 3 months, and that was like, obviously he's a professional MBA, so he's doing his pre-vet, etc. Outside that, just low to go. So not including the week for pre-vet, it's just 6 weeks, and that's starting to shrink already to 4 weeks. So that's a huge achievement for us. Our benchmark's trying to get to the 3-week mark.
What do you put that down to, Nick? Is it the flow of communication, or is it the way that your workflow is set up?
I'd say it's flow of communication. That's a great question. It's flow of communication, and workflow is improving because of that. When we went through this exercise, we had a, call it 2008 template of advice process as an example, right? And then we're sitting with the guys from the external consultants for the implementation. They go, well, that's great, but with this software, A, B, and C are quite repeated all the way down here. How about we delete that? And you actually don't do it down here, do it up here, and that way you get more efficiency. And they're like, oh, okay. Why didn't anybody think of that? Well, we didn't know it's possible. So it's a process thing, but yeah, it's the time piece of efficiency, but also the process that cut down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Real time tracking of client progress, new business profile pipeline. So sorry, I already talked about this one, but just new business pipeline. Like, it's funny. Like, the way we do it, we sort of look at, okay, which are the clients we've engaged with. We get an estimation of the type of strategy and what sort of work's involved, because obviously we send out a letter of engagement. So when we send out a letter of engagement, we record that client. The client's created anyway in the software, and then we record it. We're able to actually record the dollar value on it. And then we go, letter of engagement accepted, dollar value, ATP, completion, and now I can track it all the way through to dollars arriving on the commission statement. So today I can actually sit there, go, okay, here's Joe Blogs. It's going to be X amount of dollars today, and I can track, is it 6 months, is it 9 months, and when do we actually see the dollars? And then the system will match it up. And if it doesn't match up, it'll say there's an exception. Obviously, at this stage, still early days, I'm expecting there'll be a lot of exceptions, because where we start to where we end might be lower, but we'll track it.
Is that purely upfronts that you're tracking, or ongoing?
Ongoings as well. Yeah. Well, we've started entering upfronts, and I think next week we're going to start entering the ongoings as well.
So expected upfronts and ongoings if they sign.
That's right. Yeah. The ongoings is a hard one, because ongoings, that's a good point, because I'm finding, and we just started thinking through this, thinking the ongoings is probably going to be after we get the SOA done, because we're just trying to figure out when we price it out. struggling to put an ongoing at the start. That's the problems. So, and we could, that's what I'm saying, like there's probably going to be exceptions, but if we chuck a figure in there on the ongoing and we do the SOI, it's probably going to be
A little bit different.
different. We've had some positive feedback on from clients as well on speed and clarity in terms of where things are at. So they're able to ring up and say, oh, where things are at, and we're like, it looks like we're working on the file right now. Oh, we're right on it. Yeah, it's like 2 clicks and we know exactly where they are, as opposed to I'll have to call you back or we're in the middle of something, but I'm not sure where we're at. So that's been really powerful. So I've actually had 2 clients come back to me. Oh, it was great. I rang, Nemanja, and she was able to tell me in 2 minutes where things are at. Fantastic. So, which has been really positive for us. So hopefully that continues. Lessons learned, what worked. External guidance, I think, is really important. We're not IT specialists. I'd like to think I am, but I'm not. Lesson learned. Strong internal leaders. It's a hard one. Like I remember when I was, me and just 2 other people. If we had to take on a software back then, it would be I would have drowned, 100% drowned. So I think that goes to the first point. Like having external guidance is really important. It's a cost, but well worth the exercise. Clear KPIs, and KPIs is not just about us as individuals, but for the business. What are we trying to achieve, and sticking to that. Having to be really, really clear on that. Is it a cost saving? Is it efficiency? And what is that going to look like? So that's really important. What didn't work was unstructured early testing. That definitely doesn't work. It's good to do from a let me see what else is out there so I know what's out there, but it doesn't work because we can be in our box and think, and I find this, right, I'm working on a client, I'm thinking, okay, how do I put this into software? But my mind's not on that. It's on the client's strategy. I'm not thinking about, where it's going to fit in that box. It's too hard for me anyway. And even if I'm going to do that, it's going to be inefficient because I'll only give it 10% of my time and go back to the strategy. So it's not, it's like a horses for courses sort of scenario. Don't underestimate adoption challenges. We had, I've heard us, when we spoke to some software companies directly, they're like, yep, it's easy. We'll do this. Jack's your own. Yeah, there we go. You'll be up and running, and by Christmas you'll be laughing. It doesn't happen. just letting you know, it doesn't happen. That's the sales pitch. The reality is very, very different. But it does get better. It 100% gets better. What we do differently, we would have probably simplified our decision matrix and change map earlier. So, starting out 2 years ago, as let's give that a go, and then sitting down 2 years later and go, hang on, we need a decision matrix, which was massively complex. When I look at it, it was really about, if you take everything off the table, it's really about delivering the best service we can. That's it. Simple. I've just cut everything out, obviously in a compliant manner, but it's just about that. That's it. Most efficient, best quality service. So cut everything else out. If we had this huge matrix about, this and that, but really that was the one single point we were trying to achieve. And I think we have in terms of what we've got. A couple of practical tips. Pilot with internal champions if you've got one to roll it out. Early buy-in and communication with the team and that's a tip and a learning, because I felt when we got to the point of saying we're bringing these consultants in, some of the team members are like, for what? And I was like, oh, okay, that's my bad. Oh, by the way, we'll have a new system tomorrow. No. I was like, what? What's going on?
The talking duckish.
Yeah. So early buy-in, and if we have the buy-in, the team was really good. Those consultants that came in and spoke to each and every one person individually, I was amazed. Like I thought, I know the business, but then when they talk to one person, they're getting different input than I would ever give. And that's fair enough because I'm not in that space. Honestly, I'm not. So that's really important. Track measurable improvements regularly. So what we're trying to do now is, the improvements that are coming through, we're trying to track those. which is like the 6 to 4 week turnaround. And then we're trying to look at what are the other measurables we can put in place, which is month 4 of that next month's KPI work we're going to do with the lovely ladies from Bendigo, Ballarat, one of the two. Somewhere. I always get
I get that confused too.
It's out west. No,
It's not here.
It's not here. It's not here. There you go. And yeah, do not expect one tool to do it. That's a strong learning from us. And maybe even though I'm saying that, it is very, very specific to the individual practice or the individual person. So if your needs are going to be different to my needs, our needs are going to be different, as a practice to every individual practice. So that's definitely my learning. So we can't say, okay, Nick took this software, it's 100% that's going to work for us. No, hands down, no. There's no guarantee on that. You really need to work through that process of what does my practice need, what do my clients need, and then work down from that. And it may come to a point where you might say, look, you know what, I just need one software and a bolt on for like risk profiling tool or something like that. And that's okay. But I do find if you, for scalability and where you want to go in businesses, where you're going to find the answers as to what your software should be. Q&As, takeaways, framework, measurement, be having clear about that. CRM modeling tools, I do think, sorry, I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I think they need to be separate. That's what we found. Choose systems that both enhance the teams and your client experience. So, your team's got to be able to find whatever we do for the client. It's got to be easier and harder. And yeah, I just had a last question there. What, if you were to, that was my starting point. What one process you could reimagine within your practice tomorrow? That's like a starting point. That was the feedback I got, and I actually used it. And to be honest with you, I found that question very powerful when I was sitting down and thinking, okay, what's the one thing I really want to improve? What's the one thing I could really improve tomorrow that would not only make my client experience better, our experience better, but ultimately drive profitability in our businesses as well. Our break even is a little bit out on that 50 grand. I'm sure we'll get there soon. Just as a cost comparison, and I think, for me, a big driver of really looking at it from the cost point of view was, like what you guys did through integrity, through the practice, and looking at, well, hang on, that makes sense. We're paying 4.5 or whatever it is on X plan. That's a month. That's huge. And, by trimming that down, I think we're down to 1,500 a month waiting for I think we just trimmed the licenses down, but then the new software is only about 700 a month. So I'm like, okay.
So you're not requiring as many logins to explain now by the sounds of it then, Nick.
That's it. Yeah. So we've got 3 logins, one for paraplanning, one for that Matt uses, and one that Nikki's got. And then basically that's it. So Nikki, obviously, she uses it for the compliance oversight piece, and Matt uses it for the modeling, and the paraplanner's doing his thing. So yeah, it works really, really well. But that last question was really important. I think that's it.
Oh, I'm going to drum roll.
Oh no, that's it, President.
The great reveal you haven't told us yet.
No. We ended up with Work Sorted as the software. Yeah, Work Sorted.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah. And we did. Look, I find that, to be honest with you, I'm terrible with patience for X plan, like in terms of logging in and clicking here, clicking there, and then going there and then go, oh, that's where the client's at. Work Sorted works on widgets, very similar to Zeppel as well. Like it's just widgets on the screen. I can go click on that, and I know how many. There's like 20 outstanding tasks. I click on that, goes to the client, just keeps opening new screen. It's just functional, sort of goes with where the brain thinks. I find it really easy, really, really easy. And really, I can just sort by and on the home screen, I can get a whole listing of where each client's at in the process. If RO was done in 1st of July and signed, but we haven't finished implementation, it'll actually show me that. And I go, oh, what happened there? Or pending buys or pending sell or whatever. So yeah, we did end up with Work Sorted. The group that we work with, the 2 ladies outside Melbourne,
The B word.
the B word, are TNT. And again, they are more around Work Sorted. So even if you're thinking about having a conversation, they're fantastic, Tamara and Tanya. Actually flew
TNT. Yeah.
TNT, yeah.
Zest is it Zest?
Zest,
Consulting, yeah.
Zest Consulting, that's it. Oh, sorry, TNT is the power plant.
Yeah, Zest
yeah,
is
you're
the-
right. Zest is the consulting, perfect.
Yeah.
So we found them on the implementation, they were fantastic, really, really good. So I'm sure they do the consulting side as well. The consulting side, I've forgotten the name of I've just had a blank. We did the initial consulting.
Did you use Finura?
Finura,
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you. Well done. God,
Across the.
yeah, good on you.
So to look up a client's portfolio, you'll log into the platform or Xplan?
Explain our portfolio.
Yeah.
Explain platform. Sorry.
Yeah.
Typically, we're going to platform now.
Yep.
As a default, because Explain's good. It's getting data feeds. But I've got a trust issue in terms of many a times there's unit pricing adjustments or something's not flowing through, and I'm just going to go to the platform.
And you haven't bothered about taking a feed from, say, the platform into work
Sorted. No.
work sorted.
They don't
Yeah.
specialise.
Because the financials don't really flow through.
Yeah.
But it's just pure CRM and revenue.
And if that's your compliance system as well, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you're storing all your advice documents,
Yes.
everything in Workforce.
We use OneDrive.
Yeah.
So we're using OneDrive for all the compliance documents.
Yep.
But file notes and so SOAs, for example, hard documents, we call it hard documents, but they're sitting in OneDrive.
Yep.
And all our file notes, emails, telephone calls, all go automatically into Worksorted.
So if you jump into Worksorted, can you access your OneDrive from there, or you have to?
There is a way we can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's that question for the other behind it. There's Kelsey and Nikki question. I'm just like, oh, okay, I can see it. But yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you can link their hyperlink because 365 is secure, so it has an API
Yeah.
that link into Worksorted. So if we can do emails, I know there is a way of doing. I don't think we've done it yet, but we've got to do that as well.
Yeah.
But also as part of the software thing, we actually came across another software which is called Web. A lot of people probably already have it as Web Phones. Which is Web Phones. It's literally they don't promote themselves as a phone company. They say we're a software company, and like it's just a recent experience. We've had Web Phones now in the new office for the last 3 to 4 months. And where we're about to get to, I believe, in the next few weeks is that if I place a phone call on my phone, it comes up with a dedicated mobile number. That's not my personal mobile number. So, that's you're trying to separate personal.
Yes.
It records the calls automatically. So for me, that's security, compliance brain on. It does record the call. It does make notification an individual this call may be recorded, blah, 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 right at the start. So the person answers, you talk to the client, hey, how's it going, blah, 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 fantastic, great. Call finish, automatically sends an email to the admin inbox with a transcript. That transcript admin just pushes through Claris and then uploads it into Worksorted. I've done nothing.
Yeah.
I've had my call up my go.
Yeah.
End of story.
Have you felt your language changing as a result of it all being recorded, Nick? I think, yeah.
Which is good though.
Yeah.
Good. Which I think is good. And not to say accountants, but sometimes, I can send an email to an accountant and I get no response. I'll just ring, hey, let's just talk about it.
Nothing in writing.
Yeah. I'm writing, you said, but I think, even with clients, like it's like if I say, just randomly using example, I want to sell CBA shares and look, the outlook's not great. There's 120 against 175, well, what do you think I should do? I'm on the phone. It's being recorded. But I'm being careful now. So not just being careful, not that I would sell and go flog it off. But I'm just like thinking, look, there's definitely upsides of selling, and I'm constructing my sentences more carefully and more structured, right? And it's like, yes, there's upsides, but you've got to consider the CGT. You've got to consider you're coming out of a market at the top. So it's like, it's probably a good thing, to be honest. I actually think it's a good thing. It gives me sleep at night factor as well, because I know there's others as well on the calls, advisors now within our practice on the calls as well. And they're also sort of in the same going, yeah, this is good. We're sort of constructing a conversation, not necessarily say as you would do an SOA, but you're still sort of thinking of those things. And then you'd say in the end, look, if you're keen on it, I'll organise an advice document for you. Can you come back to me?
I guess the thing is that like everyone's getting more comfortable with meetings being recorded, so it doesn't really change in terms of the phone calls. It just means that you're not typing as much for your file note afterwards, and yeah, there's not really, if you've got that recording, it makes sense. You've got everything down, so that's great. Nick, I've got a question as well about you were looking at reimagining the whole advice process. Did the X-Plan component get looked at as well, like the advice construction part? Were there other options that you looked, or are you still looking at that to give a better client engagement? I think that was your main thing. What's going to make the client's life better?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the advice construction piece, we actually looked at a couple of softwares. And where we've arrived at this stage is we haven't gone down the path, because what we found is there's probably a reluctance from a history point of view. Like if I've got modeling, I've got historic modeling for that client in Xplan. And then and we don't have we have new clients come in and we could possibly transition, but I'll be running to an additional program at the same time. So that was our reluctance to say, okay, how do we port? We can't port it. What's in Xplan in modeling, you can't get out. So that modeling for us is like a baseline. For example, a client comes in, hey, 5 years ago, we started here, that's where we're at. It's in the SOA, but these variables change, and then we can chuck it into Xplan and show them what it looks like. I didn't have the confidence with some of the other solutions to say it would still work. It would be disconnected. Completely disconnected. And then also what we found was the power players were using outsourcing to TNT and ABP in Sri Lanka. They're on Xplan as well. So it was like, do we want to upset the apple cart that much? And is what we want to get out of it, are we going to gain as much out of it? And the answer was no. So even if we switched, we're not doing that much in-house. Would it help our outsourced teams? Possibly, but then they're already on Xplan. So I was like, let's just leave that. But the two ladies in the Philippines who support us through Work Sorted, that's VBP, Virtual Business Partners. They're basically, they're over 1,000 people or whatever, but they're using Work Sorted and Xplan. So for our two people to jump onto to Work Sorted, it was pretty good. It was internal training as well. So to answer your question, we sort of looked at it and went, we're not going to get much out of it. Let it go. Probably hurt more than gain.
Did you look at live Prezo, was it, Nick, as well? Is that something that you are no good, or?
Well, I felt live Prezo was one step further than where we were at.
Yeah.
So it's definitely still on the table. I'm still keen to do it. But I think, yeah, we're like, okay, we said, okay, let's fix. It became like a horse and cart. We tried the live Prezo with Caroline last year, and it worked. But I thought, hang on, our back end is just, we need to fix this, and then we can go to the next. Yeah.
And for people that don't know, Live Prezo is basically a plug-in, again, to Xplan, but you still do your advice modeling through Xplan, but then it extracts into like a live website sort of PowerPoint presentation of an SOA. So it's interactive. Clients have a link and they can go in and see the modeling and click in and do all different things in there. So it's a digital advice document.
And the best part I loved about it, people can put questions in there.
Yeah.
They're like, if they don't understand something, and put a question there. And then, you get that live, or you can get it after the fact and respond to their questions as well. That's pretty good.
That question your need service then.
Oh, we delete that. Just kidding. Well, I think eventually, like I'm a big fan of AI and stuff. Like, I think eventually we are hands down accelerating to a point where the relationship is going to be there. It's going to be about the relationship, and then it'll be like, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do this, and it's just, you're going to receive the document. And I'm happy to talk you through it as well, but go through it yourself first. I think we're going to get there. Like we send out SOAs in advance. Right, we'll send it 2 days minimum in advance as a draft, a big draft on it, do not implement, but just so the clients can start getting their heads around it. And then when they come in, it's really about the questions. I could take that same thing and say, we're going to send it to you, type your questions in, and we'll still catch up to see if you've got any questions. I think it's just that efficiency piece. It's going to come. Yeah, live preso is probably the next chapter for us as well.
Very interesting. No, thank you, Nick, for taking the time to
Pleasure.
go through the process. I think the process is sometimes the hardest part. Obviously, you shared that it was a 3-year, basically a 3-year journey to get to where you are now. But having that broken down as to what the key takeaways are, the bumps that you have along the way, and then your experiences, that I think that'll be helpful for other people that are looking to bring other things on. So thank you again for sharing that intimate knowledge.
Would you be happy if anybody wanted to continue the conversation, Nick?
Yeah.
Yep, reach out.
Happy to have a chat.
Okay, thank you.
So I know John reached out to me, and apologies, John. I think we ended up, if he's online, we ended up playing phone tag, sorry. But yeah, happy to chat to anyone as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you again. We're all done for this session. So it's a break for lunch, and we'll meet back at 1 o'clock. It is for Darren to give a AFSL update. Pressure's on. Hasn't done anything for a little while.
They asked some good questions.
See you guys.